everyone, and thank you very much for watching or listening. Liam Hartery here today with another episode of Presenting Champions for the Simply Inspired podcast. And today I'm truly honored and truly blessed to be bringing you a very, very special guest from South Africa, Bongmusa Mthembu. Hopefully, I'm pronouncing that the right way because I've been practicing that. But this man is an incredible runner, incredible professional runner, ultra marathons, three-time champion of the Comrades Marathon, two-time ocean marathon champion, I believe, African 100-kilometer record holder, world 100-kilometer silver medalist and bronze medalist as well, one time on the Dam Champ as well. So this man has been very busy, has competed in many of the best races around the world, making his mark on the world of running. But as always with my interviews, today we're not just talking about sports, but we're going a little bit deeper into the mindset that it takes to chase your dreams and succeed at the high level. So thank you very much for coming on the show, my friend. It's an absolute pleasure.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me. It's such a great opportunity for me, and yeah, thanks for welcoming me. Such a great honor for me to be here, and to all of your listeners. I mean, I'm so grateful for this opportunity. So thank you so much.
Well, thank you. It's a great honor for me as well. Before we begin properly, one small thing. I've seen that you sometimes refer to yourself as Bongs. May I call you that, or do you prefer your full name?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think of anyone which is suit you. I've just sometimes cut it off because sometimes, yeah, I've seen some of people it's so difficult to pronounce Bongmusa. So I think most of some people is easier to say just say Bongs, So it's anywhere what suits you. But yeah, most of the people they call me Bongs, especially yeah, I mean, yeah. So I accept. I've got so many nicknames. But yeah, Monks is okay. I'm cool with him.
Forward bonds. Okay, okay. Well, it's important for me to ask you that because names is a very important thing. And with Bong Musa as well, before we begin, does your name have a special meaning? Because in many parts of Africa, the names have very cool meanings behind them.
You sure? For sure. For sure. Yes, yeah. I mean, there's a great meaning of behind my name because my mom he's got like three boys before me. So I think for her, it was difficult to get a lady. So when she got a lady which is before me, then she said Ambo Musa. So that means he thanks the grace of God that he gave him another boy. So yeah, I mean I think that's what the meaning behind the name.
There we are. Very cool.
Mm.
Very cool. Beautiful meaning. That's just a little something to warm us up. Anyway, let's talk about running. As I understand it, your upbringing was not always easy to say the least. But when you started running, am I correct in saying you started only for fitness and you had no ambitions at that time to be a professional runner? Am I correct in saying that, Bones?
No, yeah, I mean you're absolutely correct. When I started running, it wasn't like the full I mean understanding that it's gonna be my career. So I grew up in deep rural areas. So for the young boy which is grew up in rural areas, when you finish the matric, so you had to move. I mean in closed town where you can find maybe the job and you can even further your education. As we mentioned, our parents. So I grew up with my mom because my father passed away early. He was a teacher by profession. By the time I was getting into his hand in grade 9, so I mean he passed away around in March. So it was disappointing for me, and then it's devastated me. And I was really I mean broken. But other than that, my mom she was with us all along, and yeah, man, when I finished my matric, then I had to move closer to the city to look out for the job because I knew that I'm not gonna go and ask my mom about the financial situation to go further my education. So I had to use my talent. Actually, I was I was well talented. I was doing so much sport around my area. I did a little bit of cricket, I did a little bit of soccer, I did a little bit of tennis, but I had that.
Hold on, I've lost you. There we are. Sorry,
Uh,
you froze for a moment, but
sorry,
please do continue.
okay, sorry about that. Yeah, I mean, I think we after that, I tend to try and find what sport I can do it alone. Up until I found running because I had the stamina, as I mentioned. Grew up in the rural areas. We go a long distances, whether you go to school, whether you go to look for a kettles, whether you go to the shop. So for us, walking, it was our daily. I mean, yeah, what we do every day. So yeah, I think that's where the build up of stamina and running started for me up until I moved to the city where I get more knowledge how to train. Then from there, I never looked back because I knew that yes, I need education in running. It's very important, but I can use my mind, I can use my body. Then after that, I will be well educated in terms of when you have sit down with the cooperative and sign the contract, and you know what you're taking. I mean, the to in financial level and take care of yourself even beyond running.
Absolutely, yeah, it makes a lot of sense. The hunger to succeed was always there with you, and I like the other side of that, the business side and the understanding of things as well. Very important because people don't realize that sports is a business as well, you know. Um,
Mm,
so when it comes to the distinction, because when I talk to athletes, they go through this process of realizing they enjoy a particular sport. So you enjoy running, but then they go through the shift of the mindset of thinking, okay, I can go a long way with this, you know? And I'd like to
mm,
talk a little bit more about that time when, as you say, you had talents, you were talented in other sports, you were talented in
mm.
moving long distances, but when you really started to think, I can take this all the way to be a champion, to be a professional, and that shift in your mentality, if that makes sense, you know?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, well, when because you remember, I mean, when we talk about Comrades in South Africa, that's the biggest race we have in our country. That's why it's one of the biggest ultra marathon in the world that we have. There was some other people that I used to watch or I used to hear about them in radio stations that they are running. So all those kind of people, I don't know whether you know William Dolo is one of the guys here in South Africa who even won a New York Marathon back in the days. So he's one of those guys because he also grew up from same area where I grew up, which is called Ibulwa. So although we are in separate in areas, but in the same Bulwa, we belong in under Bulwa. So there are those some other athletes that inspired me, and then I had to because like I said, I had to find the knowledge how to live with running and how to behave and how to carry yourself if you are a runner and whenever because at the same time there will be time where maybe you won other races, how to handle the pressure, how to handle the interviews. I had to go through I mean some lot of education in terms. I was lucky because there are other people who are already in sport, so they had to teach me how to behave myself and how to carry myself in public and also how to speak. Because at the end of the day, this is Bongmusa, this is who I am. So I had to be me. I had to respect and understand whoever supported Bongmusa, but at the end of the day, I had to understand myself because at the end of the day, I'm gonna be alone on the road during the training. All these people who are supporting us, they only see us for those couple of hours that we are trained. So yes, man, I had to go. I remember the other year, which is 2010, I had to go through even interrogations because we faced a lot of challenges like other sport coach, which is a bigger in our country or even the world. So as for us and as an athlete, so I had to go through that. I didn't know that. I didn't know sports psychologist. So I had to go through that so that I can prepare myself in whenever any situations comes because yes, man, I was driven because that day I started running, I only work for only like eight months. Then after that, I had to go back to the home and tell my mom that I'm gonna quit job now. I'm gonna be a runner. So she has to ask me, I mean, how can I support him, or how can I support myself and also the family? So I had to explain to her how I'm gonna. So I just make an example because I mean, for soccer players in South Africa, so we always watch TV soccer players. So I had to explain, make an example for him about the soccer players. So she has to understand slowly, slowly, maybe up until maybe like 2013. That's where I could see that she understand now. I can able to take I can able to take care of myself and also the family.
Absolutely. Yeah, it makes sense for them to adapt and understand. But it is very good that you had the instructions on those things as to, how to speak to camera and these various things, because I know a lot of people who became successful in sport and they had to figure that out on their own. So you're lucky to have people to guide you as definitely a blessing. So when it comes to your first success, as a runner and everything. Obviously, people know about comrades, they know about these big things that we will talk about soon. But if we go back before that to maybe your first race or maybe your first couple of races, just to get an understanding of that early time when you were starting out and starting to have some success, please.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, at any sport, there will be those legends that they have those eyes who can see that this guy or this lady it can go, or it can go far, just for the look. I think I was one of those guys, which is stronger, bigger, and those guys, those people who knows that, I mean, this guy can be good in ultra or it can be good in track. It was easy for them to identify me. I think that's how it started for me to be recognized. So then after that, there was a group around town, and then they just called me and said, "No, boy, you know what? We see the potential in you. If you don't mind, you can come during these days. You can come and join us and do those sessions and maybe getting to learn more." Then after that, I mean, because as I've said, I was really, really driven because I knew this is what I'm gonna do now for the rest of my life, and I'm gonna give it all. So I remember because I was working in a construction. I think you have an idea when you're working in a construction, you just stand the whole day. So that I was doing. Then 4:30, then I had to go for training, and yeah, that's how it started. Then after that, I remember when I won my first race, which is at Pietermaritzburg in KZN here in South Africa. So that was the opening eye for me, and also the clubs. When you see the clubs, the big clubs, and coming and approaching you, then you see maybe there is something happening. So that's how it started. When I won my first race, which was 42.2 kilometers. Then after that, yeah, I've got approached by certain coaches, certain clubs. Then there was some of incentives in those clubs and coaches. So then we had to sit down and discuss with my best friend at that time. Then he advised me that I should go this way because this team has got these beneficiaries on or this route. So it was that's how it started for me. Then yeah, we move forward from there.
Absolutely, yeah. It's amazing to get the story of your beginnings because people see the success you're having now and they see you
Mhm.
as the great athlete that you are. But to understand the beginnings is so important to what shaped you as the man you are today. So I think with this concept, we can skip forward a little bit in time and we can talk a little bit
Sure.
about Comrades itself, because people will want to hear about it. Now, you've won it three times. I believe you've entered it more times than that. But as you say, this is the pinnacle. I mean, I've obviously watched it. I've read about it. In your country, it is. Well, all around the world, it is massive, but in your country, it's like a festival, everything stops. The atmosphere is incredible. So, how did it feel when you had got to that level? If we start talking about the time you reach that level, maybe your first Comrades race. And then we can talk a little bit about the wins because I'm curious to know out of your three wins, if you have a favorite one as well, or if they are
Yeah.
all equally special to you, you know?
Yes. No, I think they always different, you know. I remember the first time when at the starting line, you know, I was feeling anxious. I didn't know what was gonna happen. I was scared whether I'm gonna finish this distance, you know. And all I wanted was just to finish. Then the following year, I knew that's where I would land, and also then again I will also know how to train maybe and also fix any mistake that I saw or ever I picked up along the way. But honestly, for the first time, I was very, very scared. I didn't know what to expect because I know the distance which is those in between those two towns, but I didn't know even the route where we're gonna run because I only knew the highway. So I thought maybe somewhere we're gonna run on highway, but I also found that there is no way that we ran on the highway. We just ran in those small road up until we reached the same town. So it was bit very very scary. But I think because I train with other guys who have been running the comrade before, so it was a little bit more easier in that time. But because in my mind, I had that I want to win this race in maybe one day. So for me, it was I had to learn today. I had to see who won the race. I had to listen to them even before and after how they won or even how they prepare for themselves. And then, yeah, man, luckily, I think when I ran my first comrade, so many people they were amazed that the way I ran because I ran 6 hours 25. They said, "No, boy, in few years you're gonna win comrade. Stick what you are doing, and be humbled. Never thought that you know everything. You must be humbled yourself, and you must be able to listen to everybody. So then you will go far in terms of comrade. And you must I think the most lesson I've learned, they only told me you must only race Comrades Marathon in a year. You can't race any race because Comrades it's the ultimate ultra marathon, so you can't race any race. So I picked up that since then from 2006. That's what I've been doing. I never raced any race up until we got an opportunity to represent our country in wet 100 kilometers.
Absolutely incredible description of the story as well. I will come back to the mindset topic in a moment. But out of your comrades' wins and everything like this, do you have a favorite one out of the races that you've won the three times, or are they all as special to you the same way, one, two, three, if that makes sense?
Yeah, I think, although, I mean, honestly, all they are special. I mean, I must say, but yeah, man, I think 2014 it was, I think it was my favorite one because I remember I couldn't believe where I took the lead. I couldn't believe, and I was thinking, my God, everybody's watching me now on TV. Everybody's speaking about me now, wherever in radio station, and remember for me, this is my province. That's where I am staying. Most of the guys, they're coming from other provinces. So for me, I almost train even on the road. So, I mean, most of the people, they know us. I mean, so we can you imagine you've been shout your name from the start to finish. And yeah, man, I couldn't believe. By the time I hit the halfway, I mean the finish line, yeah, all the emotions then comes back then. But other than that, they're all special. But 2014 ones was a bit funny for me. And because I know those guys who used to won the comrade before me, and to see myself, I mean, left them behind and open the gap, and at the end of the day, and winning the race. So it was, I mean, amazing for me, and also the learning curve, and also, excuse me, the big pressure because the following year I knew because all those guys they will be on me, so it was scary at the same time. So that's why I think all most of them they're all special in their different ways.
Absolutely. Incredible achievement, remarkable. Now, with Comrades, obviously you know all about this because you've lived it, but the sense of occasion, the sense of celebration, anticipation in terms of the event as a whole is very unique, very powerful, and obviously Comrades has a very proud history as well. Now, most people who are watching this will know about this and they'll know what it's like. But just to cover it for anybody who doesn't know, because it's not like anything else, can you explain the atmosphere at a Comrades race? Because I really do think it's not like
Mm.
anywhere else in the world, and it's very, very special with its meaning and its history, you know?
Yeah, yeah. I think you can even, I mean, interview other person. He will differentiate your comrade. We can differentiate it many ways because I mean, comrade it's so close into our hearts. And you can find even most of the athletes, they ran comrade with injuries. The doctor will say you can't go to run comrade. They'll say I'm going to run comrade because comrade is such a different race, and the atmosphere it's amazing. It's not starting only on the race day or on the starting line. It's starting maybe like 2 weeks before the comrade. You can feel the vibe, especially as I'm saying, I'm from that area where you start to see the road has been drawn, the banner has been put along the route, and the radio station they're starting to build to do the build ups. So it's start to turning the even yourself when you drove along that I mean in town, you could see the vibe, you can see the atmosphere. Then comes the race day. It's amazing. The atmosphere from start to finish, you can't run alone. I mean, the people, the spectators, they always supporting us. You can't even differentiate whether there's a CFO there, or the chairperson, or the all the different classes of people. We all come together. We all cheer up together. Even if you can see, even people they're going there through, I mean, tough times, you could see them, I mean, helping each other. Even for us, we chat, I mean, in sometimes, yes, for us it's a competition. Sometimes you could see the tension, but we chat, we laugh, I mean, we because we know each other. But the other than that, man, it's amazing. As for me, uh, it tends to be more difficult because I remember even when I've said that. I mean, for me, it tends to be difficult now because they know my name. They can shout my name from the start to finish. And even if I want to try some other tricks, it's so difficult for me because the spectator, they're gonna shout my name, and that person which is up front, he will knew that Bongmusa is behind me. So it's always difficult, but other than that, it's amazing. Comrade, and also we saw comrade changing our lives, not only for us and as an athlete and elite athlete, and also the regular person, because I mean running for us is only not only, I mean, the career, but also our therapy, because I mean we live through running, and we talk running, we are the running, and comrades has been amazing to me, and also I mean I'm showing other athletes, and we are able now, as I'm here today, I couldn't been here without comrades. So I mean comrades change our lives. So I've seen some other people, we are able now to draw some even sponsors. Yes, we had the problem with the COVID, I mean it affected our sport, especially in our country. But other than that, we are so grateful about the comrade. So that's why it's easier to talk about the comrade. And most of the people, they know about the comrade. And it's such an amazing race, and it's so close into our hearts.
Absolutely. It's an incredible story. As you're describing this, I feel for a moment like I'm there as you're saying it because your descriptions are so alive, you know.
Mm,
I'd like to touch on something with your life with this as well and how it impacted your life in the sense of the recognition you received from people for being, as you say, on TV, for becoming a famous runner, basically from this not only from the wins, but obviously the many times you've competed, you won the medals as well and everything. But this has two sides to it because one of them is people in general in your home area. But as well as that, I would be curious to hear about how your family responded to the success you're having. Because if you remember earlier, we were saying about your mother sort of having to adapt to the idea. But by this
Mm.
time, she would be seeing the tremendous success you were having. So, in terms of the reaction from the public, the reaction from your family, what was that like? Not for any particular races, but just in general, with the comrades, you know? Thank you.
Yeah, no, I've seen changing. I mean, every year by year. Yeah, I remember when I started way back in 2003 or and four, they couldn't understand what Bongmusa is doing now. And even if we are training, I mean, around my area, you could see they didn't understand what Bongmusa is doing now. It might be maybe had a problem or something. And then when they started to hear, I mean, the radio station, the newspapers, then the TV. I could see, especially around my area. Then I could see the change. I could see now when I came back, I mean at home, they will come and say, no, we heard when you were speaking in the radio, or we saw you on TV, or we heard about you on newspaper, we read about you on newspapers. But I could see the little bit of change now and then. Then when I'm training, they could see now Bob Musa is doing something which is positive, and as for my family, and uh my brothers and sisters, they always come and support me. And even if when I'm training, because sometimes we going to Lesotho, which is above the 3,000 above the sea level, because I'm at the lower level. So whenever I'm trying to match other guys, so they come and supporting me. Then again at home, I'm not the firstborn, I'm the fifth one. So now it started to tend to be like I'm the firstborn. I'm tending to be a breadwinner. My mom, she will tell me so many things that is need to be done at home. Whenever there's something that needs to be discussed, she wants me to be there. And yeah, man, we grew up. That's how they brought us up. We follow like our cultural. We are so into our cultural thing. So where I remember in 2009, where I went back home and I asked my mom that she need to tell me everything that my father didn't do. So I had to do that. We slaughter so many goats and cows and and chicken. That's our culture. So I think from there they could see that Bomusa now he can take care of us. He can take care of the family as a whole, and also myself, and also my kids too. And yeah, and now I didn't want to treat myself or to tell myself that I'm a celebrity. And even now, when I'm going home, when they come to me and took the pictures, but in my mind, I never thought that I'm a celebrity. And even now, whenever I'm going, maybe in a shopping or maybe walking or something, yeah, people they come to me and take pictures and ask me so many questions, but I've always tried my best to not live any life, to live the life that my parent told me. So even today, but my mom, she always been scared to come and watch me live because she said, she's a woman. Because I'm the one, I was into her for like 9 months. So whenever she watched me running, she felt the pain in her stomach. So she's scared of coming and running. But she's a spiritual woman. Whenever I'm running, she always pray for me. She always asks me whether I've praying or maybe I can able to pray. So she was always with me in spiritual, and my brothers and sisters they always come to support me. And with that little bit of understanding that they had, I've tried to touch them. How does it go? And even now at home now, we have that many respect. Whether I've seen now even my bigger brothers or my sisters, they call me brother, but I'm younger than, so that's how we respect in each other.
Absolutely. Well, it's amazing to hear how your family responded because it's something people don't see from the outside, you know. But as well as that, the way you stay humble and everything is a beautiful thing. And I really think that by achieving everything you've achieved, you represent that people can come from anywhere from any background, and you can achieve your dreams, and you give people that hope and that inspiration. It's a very powerful position to be in, but you're very blessed. Now, with a couple of other things, I'd like to delve a little bit deeper into the mindset, as I mentioned at the beginning. The couple of things about this, again, it's the things that people don't see, because you said earlier, they see the race, but they don't see all the training, the dedication, the sacrifice, everything of this nature. So, when it comes to the race itself, or actually before that, when it comes to the build up to the race, you said, with your first comrade, it was scary. Now, over time, I'm sure you've got used to it. But when it comes to handling pressure from everybody watching, from being on TV, from being well known and well respected. Obviously, you enjoy running, you enjoy what you do, but there is that pressure, isn't there? So, what is your way to sort of push through that and not let that affect you?
Yeah, I mean, you're very true. There's always been a pressure. And once you, as I've said, once you won a comrade once, then you already knew that the following year, each and every step, the guys that would be on you, whether you're trying to do anything, they will watching you. So I think for me, by the time I got to won my second comrade, I had that little bit of education, maybe on also my great surrounding of the guys that they always, I mean, supporting me, especially in my mindset that, okay, Bongmusa, now you've won, comrade, but let's forget about that now. It's another new year. It's another season. We don't know who's going to be there on the starting line. So the very important thing is to know and being confident to yourself. You remember, as earlier I've said that, because I'm so close where the comrades run. So I used to go to the camp. Then when I'm at the camp, there is no newspapers, there is no social media, there is no radio station or TV, there is nothing, only the training. So for that, preparing our mind that we don't want to know our competitors, what they are doing or what they say. I think that's a very important thing that I've always been doing for the past maybe like 15 years. So then I would come back maybe like on Thursday, where we're gonna run on Sunday, or maybe I will come maybe on Friday, or maybe like the last week of the race. Then I will come back, in our province. But from March, I will be out of the country, maybe Lesotho or Kenya, just to prepare myself. I think that's one thing that we do. Then again, as I mentioned earlier, I remember I had to go through interrogation, because I mean, to handle the pressure, I can't say exactly that this is what we're doing. At the end of the day, it will happen. You will find yourself maybe in a bad situation in your life, maybe in your family, that will create you a pressure maybe to do what you want to do. But at the end of the day, I had to be calm myself. And as I've said, I respected all those people who knows Bongmusa and who support Bongmusa. But at the end of the day, I had to be honest to myself. If there is something wrong to me, I had to deal with it, because I mean, honestly, the comrade needs your heart, needs your brain to be clean, nothing negative. Once you have something that has got the problem, maybe at home or maybe in your life, I mean, during the race, that will affect you. So that's why even at home, when I'm going to the camp, I always told them that they mustn't tell me if there is someone maybe is not feeling well, or maybe there is something wrong which has happened at home. So they accept, even if there's a funeral in our family, they know that we don't have to tell Bongmusa during this time, except when it's closest family like my brother, my sisters, or even my parent. So fortunately enough, it never been happening. So thanks God for that. And but they know they had to not tell me anything. I think all those things, by the time I'm on the starting line, I don't know my opponent what he said. I don't know how he feels. All I know is those guys that I was with them in camp. So I think that's played a vital role when it comes to a mindset. Then again, maybe if there is any situation, I remember in 2015 I had a bad situation. So yes, we've tried to maybe to be on a race, but during the course of the race, I mean, I felt it. No, man, my mind is not here. My heart is so broken. So I had to pull out. So it was it was very, very hard for me, and I had to accept it. If I had to cry, I had to do that. Then I had to accept. And yeah, 2016, I had to come back again.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, I mean, there's some very valuable life lessons in what you shared there. I mean, it's something that people can apply to many different life areas, not just for running, but for business, for education, for other sports. So very valuable. And I appreciate that very much, by the way, because that is the main reason why I do these talks, to try and inspire people and motivate people to show them what's possible from great people like yourself. So thank you very much. And on continuing on the mindset topic as well, I think something else that people don't see during the race itself, obviously you enjoy running and it's your profession, you train very hard, but running that distance, you're bound to hurt, at periods of time. And I think, again, a valuable lesson for life is how you push through that because obviously there's times when I'm sure your body is saying to you, look, we want to stop now, and your mind is saying, no, we don't, we're keeping going. So I'm curious how you push through the pain barrier, as people often call it.
Yeah, I mean, now you're very true. There is a time in your life where you feel like you have to give up, and where you feel like I can't do it anymore, and then you can't even feel your body. You like, no, I'm not gonna reach there. You're not gonna reach your goal. In life that's happening. Exactly what happened in Comrades. So I've always said, whenever you hit the wall, that's where everything begins. That's where everything's begin. You ask yourself how you came about to this. You ask yourself why you did what you're doing, why you want to dream big. So I think that's where the most, I mean, happening, how you can pick up yourself. I mean, definitely it does happen on a race. When the gun goes, we run, but at certain point you feel like, no, my body can't do it anymore, and you don't feel whether you're going forward or you're going backward. And you could see, I mean, other guys, they are moving, and once they took the corner, they slipped away. So in that moment, I think for me is to accept that moment and embrace that moment with a full of hope that it not gonna last. Once you accept the situation, it's not gonna last. So, as I've said, and if you have won the Comrade, and I had to be confident that I'm gonna run my race. I'm gonna race as much as I can, and if I have to break my leg, I'm gonna break it. Then at the end of the day, whatever, I mean, result came, I have to accept. I have to be honest to myself so that I can able to move on and also able to see the mistake that I've did. Because yes, sometimes we go through a bad patch in our life just because of what we did. It's the same thing on a race. Maybe I've started so fast, or maybe I've started slow, then my body, I mean, took long to pick up, or maybe I've started fast, then I've been up myself. Then again, I had to recover because, I mean, Comrade, it's a long distance. It's over the human body. So at the 60 kilometers, your body is finished. So from there to 90 kilometers, you run with your mind and with your heart. So that's why I've said if you have a problem, maybe in your life, it might affect you when you run. So I think that's the most important thing whenever the bad patch happens.
Absolutely, yeah, it makes a lot of sense. And again, there's several different lessons contained in what you said there. And again, people can apply to many life areas. So it's really wonderful wisdom, that you've gained from your experiences. Another thing with the mindset, a lot of people talk about visualizing and sort of envisioning crossing the finish line and these type of techniques as well. Do you personally use anything like that? Any of those types of techniques?
Because I think for me, because I've never, honestly, I've never, when I'm at the starting line, I've never said I'm gonna win, comrade. Whenever I'm at the starting line, whenever which race, but I've always said I'm gonna run at my highest capabilities. So then it's so hard for me to think what I'm gonna do at a finishing line. But because of the anxiety and maybe the happiness and maybe the emotional, situations, you end up doing the maybe the very, signal or anything. So I think that's what happened for me. As I've said, I'm a very spiritual man, and whenever I've crossed the finishing line, I've always thanked God that I'm finishing because I've seen other people, passing away when we ran Comrade, and knowing what I'm going through from December up until the following year, preparing for Comrade and being not out during Christmas. I'm not with my family during the Easter weekend. I'm not with my family. And for me, that's all those sacrifice, and that's why whenever I cross finishing line, it's always been emotional for me. So I think for me, when I cross the finishing line, it's just to thank God that I've survived. And then if I won, I think it's more emotional again, thinking of, wow, I couldn't believe that I've done it, and I never thought I will win this. Magnitudes of the race.
Absolutely. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. And it's very interesting for people listening because, as I said earlier, it's the things people don't see. I'm glad that your spirituality, your faith got a mention. I knew that would come up somewhere because I can feel that you have that type of energy, in a very, very good way. I mean that as a compliment, Um, so obviously we'll move into the last few topics now and I'm aiming for about an hour. So we'll move into the last few things to wrap this up. Outside of Comrades, obviously you've competed in there a lot, because it's not just the three wins we've been talking about, but there's many other times, many medals and things. But I'd like to talk about some of your achievements outside of Comrades. Now, the thing is, if we talk about every race, I think it would be too long. So the way I'm going to
Yes.
condense this down a little bit is to get your thoughts, please, on your favorite races or your proudest moments, basically, outside of Comrades. Because even though Comrades is what you're known for, we have the Ocean Marathon, as I mentioned, and we have the 100 km championships medals and different things. So, there's things like that. And if we put Comrades to the side for a moment, what are your personal favorite races outside of it, please?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, um, to represent the country, yeah, I remember I was so happy. I was so happy, that I was like, finally, I think my dream came true, and I never put myself that as I'm running now, I'm gonna represent, South Africa one day. But whenever that opportunity availed itself, I was happy. I think that's the most achievement that I had when I landed, at Spain. So I think when I phoned home that I'm overseas, they couldn't believe, because at the whole of my family, I think I'm the first one who went overseas. So for that, even to our family, that was a huge, success and achievement. So I remember they were so happy. They couldn't believe that overseas. I took a plane to overseas across the ocean. So this is the biggest ever highlight of my career. And to represent, to wear that emblem of your country, I think for me it was amazing. Grew up in rural areas, and all over the world now. So it was amazing for me. So that was the greatest achievement.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you. Because I know we've focused in on Comrades. We've focused on Comrades very much. but the other races they deserve a mention as well. So
Yeah.
the last couple of things, and we'll wrap this up soon so that you can carry on with your evening. But of course, the future plans as well. I must ask you about your future plans and what you're aiming for from this point forward. Now, I don't mind with this how far ahead we go in time, if it's
Yeah.
soon in the future or if it's far in the future, but just to get an understanding of what is inspiring you from this point forward, please?
Yeah, I mean, I've been in a sport for a long time now, 26 years, and I've seen a lot, and I've achieved, and I've lived through sport, not only like sport, but educationally. I mean, I've connected with the world now, and I've seen, I mean, the life different, especially because of where I grew up. So it would be my dream to have maybe my academy, and I've had some other contact in USA, so that we can maybe help the youngsters not only for the sport, but educational as well. I've been surrounded with a private school in our province. They open their hand if ever we have any, I mean, young people who are willing, who are doing sport, or who are battling in their background, and maybe they can help them. So I think that will be my dream, to change our community and also contribute in terms of in sports, because I've been going around South Africa to tell my story, and I've seen so many people, especially in the rural areas and also in urban suburb. They've been inspired by my story, where I grew up, how I did it, where I am, where I want to be in the future. So it should be my dream to have my academy. We've already started slowly, because I didn't want it to be involved in so many things while I was so active in sports. So now I grow up. I'm in early 40s now, so I think it's a time for me to plant those seeds. And also, as I've said earlier, I wanna see my in running to be the same like rugby, cricket, and soccer in our country. Even if you do the interview of an athlete, you didn't see the difference between the rugby player and also the my athlete. So because I've went through that, and I've seen what our athletes lack of. So even now, so that's why important for me to just teach them. So there's so many group now, especially where I grew up. Then for sure it will be the whole South Africa, but for now it is where I grew up. So it is my dream to have my academy, and to go out to even to high cooperative to tell my story. I've been so many big companies in our country to tell my story, because as you said earlier, there is sometimes that you maybe I mean cooperative they can take in whatever I'm doing, especially when you face the challenges in the offices and also in Comrades.
Absolutely. Well, it is a wonderful dream to give back and to contribute to people in that way to people's lives, because you're not only teaching them about running but about life. It's a very powerful position. So we will wrap this up pretty much with that. The final thing, just as I usually close out with this, is anybody that you would like to thank who has contributed to your journey. Now, we've mentioned the help of your family, the help of God, the help of other runners who've given you tips. So we have touched on it, but I just like to check with people because there's so many people helping athletes behind the scenes, and they don't always get recognized for their work, even though running is in
Mm.
one way it's a lonely thing, but in another way, there's still a team because people have to contribute. So is there anyone you'd like to mention in that regard, please, as the last question?
Yeah, I mean, thank you so much for that opportunity, man. It's as especially um before or COVID or during the COVID, because yeah, I mean, in our sport in our country, COVID, I mean, hit us a lot, especially for me, because this is what I do for living. I don't have any job on the other side, so I'm just doing the running only. I mean, there are so many people I can mention, and I don't want to miss anyone. But mostly, it's my team, which is at the fort. These are young guys, very enthusiastic, very passionate about the sport. For me, to them, it's not like, okay, Bongmusa, we just met him at the office. After that, he do whatever he does. If he didn't do well, he knows what is going to happen. These guys, they've been with me during tough times, happy times, and even if I need anything, they can do it anytime. Even now, if I can call them that I have problem with my car or anything, my family, they can do it within an hour. So I want to thank, Arthur Ford, which is Mike Arthur and Mike Ford, and also my friend, which is Utusomse Yaozwe, Obo Mseni, Obo Nati, and my younger brother Utamsanga, which is he always come and stay with me, supporting me emotionally because he knew me exactly and even at home. And also those business, people who are around in Pietermaritzburg, in KZN, who always supporting me. And as I've said, I told myself I'm gonna listen each and every person. There are so many even younger people who are still telling Ubo Musa what he needs to do. So I'm so grateful about anyone who contributed into my success and also give me the platform to showcase my talent, and to all the sponsors that have been involved with, which is the previous one was Nike. Nike has been with me up until I got into Adidas now, and also yeah, man, 32GI, which is the endurance sport that we have. So those people, they always been with me, and they always been with me during tough time, which is difficult times where we're going through, and even in life separately. So I'm so grateful about that. So thank you.
Absolutely, it's wonderful to give them a mention, and yeah, as you say, there's bound to be a lot of people, but it's good to give them a mention.
Yes,
I'd like to thank you for your time today. I'd like to thank you for taking the time out of your evening and talking for a whole hour with me about these variety of topics. Obviously, it's great to hear your recollections and your memories, but as well as the fun, sort of enjoyable stories, we've also got the deeper topics, the meaning to inspire people as well to follow their dreams. I believe, there's so many life lessons that you shared in this talk. So the last thing for me to do, Bongs, is just to say a big thank you for your time and also a big thank you for being an open book, as I sometimes say, in terms of sharing so much about your life and everything. Very, very grateful for that. Thank you.
you're welcome, my brother. Thanks for the opportunity, man. I hope you get what you were looking for. And this is Zubo Musa. This is my story. And if ever there is anything that if you wanna give it any another shot again, feel free, man, anytime. And I will always to be there. And hopefully you will help me clear. Here in our country we have a load shedding, so I was a little bit skeptical about that. But other than that, I'm so grateful. Thank you so much for an opportunity. So until we meet again. So thank you.
Absolutely. Until we meet again. Thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe to the Simply Inspired YouTube channel, and there'll be more videos coming soon.